I've chosen this place. I'm going to spend $400 a month on my health. I want to really talk about how great that is because I'm also sort of justifying it to myself, right? Yeah. And so it's a great time when people first make a decision, which in our case, the same thing, it's a purpose, to really ask them for referrals. There's never a better time than right then. What's up, Matt?
I'm back, baby.
I know. Glad to get you in here. I had to schedule it with you. That's always different. It's like I have a 30-minute window.
2025. It's February. Missed the whole month already. And that went by fast, didn't it?
Did, man.
What happened to January?
I don't know. It was the longest and fastest month all wrapped into one. It was weird. A lot happened in January. I mean, we awarded almost 20 licenses this month.
We trained 7 new franchises.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, it's just moving, man. I love it, though. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. It's a challenging endeavor, and that makes it fun. And you're the same way. Solving like super complex problems is kind of what humans do.
I was talking to Kelly on our team. Shout out Kelly, just about it, because when she started with us, she kind of thought that this was like, I got this role, this job, and I just go do that. And she's learned that we're a new company, for the most part, we're always growing, and that's just our culture anyways. We're looking for new ways, better ideas, how to improve ourselves. And she's just like, this is great. This is awesome.
She loves it. She texts me on the weekends and she'll have a solution to something or, hey, I've been thinking about, and it's usually something that we've already talked about. So like, just because to show you we're all sharing like a lot of the same ideas, which is always encouraging.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, it's fun, man.
You got a dad joke?
I do.
What you got?
I'm not going to lie. I didn't put a whole lot of time into this one.
Yeah, I would assume that you didn't, but what you got?
What kind of shoes do frogs wear?
I don't know.
Open-toed.
Oh, God.
It's not bad.
That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Hey, did I ever tell you I used to date twins back in high school?
No.
Yeah, everybody's like, well, oh, man, you dated twins. Like, how could you tell them apart? I'm like, well, it was easy. Like, Tammy wore pink nail polish and Tim had a penis.
What the fuck?
Canceled.
That's right. Yeah. How long have you been sitting on that one?
I don't know. It just came up. I don't know. I don't know where I heard it, or I don't even know. I was just thinking. I literally didn't even look that up. I'm like, I got this. It's scary that I have that on deck. But apparently, at some point, I thought it was really funny. So
we're going to cancel the podcast right now.
Yep. Sorry to anyone. That's not offensive. Come on, it's just silly.
Chop it up. That'll be our Instagram clip.
That's right. Our short, our YouTube short.
Okay. Oh boy.
All right, what are we talking about, Matt?
All right, so we've talked about this many different times. This is a big topic of conversation, always with owners, but I thought it'd be really good to just box up a little bit more, talking about referrals. All right, and as well I do, we are a referral-based business. Mm-hmm. We at one point, I think we're around probably 50% of our new business was referrals.
Yeah, in our corporate gym, that used to be our goal. Half of our new business has to come from referrals.
Yeah, which is huge, and it shows you truly like, if you're doing a good job, mm-hmm. right? So I have all our Z's we teach, we go over referrals, but I thought today would be nice to just kind of, again, break it down a little bit more and show all the different ways that you can drive referrals.
Let me ask you a question on this before we get started. Do referrals are they more successful passively or actively asking?
It's always going to be actively asking.
Okay, let's just start with that. They just don't happen. I mean, they will happen rarely, but I mean, it's just a byproduct of like asking. That's all. And so I'm assuming, because we haven't had any pre-podcast prep, that we're going to talk about ways to ask. Before when you said, hey, let's talk about referrals, I thought about Ken Campbell, who I had on the podcast a while back, and I think they got 40 referrals. Mm-hmm. So imagine that. They pre-sold 130. A third of them essentially came from referrals, right? And then I was talking to Mike Arce. I had him on the podcast, and he's like, yeah, in his Loud Room or coaching group, he said, yeah, we had a great mastermind call today, and we were talking about how to get 5 referrals for every new sign up. And, we have people doing that regularly.
Yep.
And then the third point about that is when we originally engaged with a guy to help us with our pre-sale. He used to have the pre-sale record in another brand, and he would always get 5 referrals per new sale during a pre-sale. And he said that he created a competitive, friendly, but competitive nature amongst his team So when one of his directors, because he owned like 8 locations, when one of the directors closed, say 3 deals, and then they would like come onto the Slack channel and be like, "Yo, I'm batting 1,000. I'd signed up 5 people and got 25 referrals today." Right. So you can gamify it. It is possible. There are people out there currently doing it. So I think we start with that, because people hear that and they're like, "Well, I'm not getting any referrals." It's like, well, it's an active campaign and a conscious effort to get them. And it is happening. People are doing it right now. So it is possible. We'll start with that.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Ken Campbell. I just got off actually an owner's call with Ken, and he voiced exactly what you said. And then the first part of that is it's a cultural thing, and they truly measured it, taught it, held each other accountable to do it. Most time the referrals, it's just kind of an expectation that people are going to walk in the door. Right. I always tell people, like, look, none of your clients are actually thinking about you once they leave your space. They're like the last thing on your mind. Slash another thing to consider is, your clients have no idea that you need referrals. They don't even know if you want them.
In the past, to your point on that, I was always surprised at when I would say to someone, "Hey, are you going to bring me anyone? Like, what, do you hate me?" I would always, humor was our default superpower. And so I would always be like, "What, you don't like me anymore? Like, you don't want my kids to eat?" Like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "No, come on, man. We just expanded the gym. Like, bring me some people." Like, "I didn't know. I thought you guys were full." And they were genuinely surprised to know, because when I'm in here, which would be 6 p.m., it's always full. "I didn't know you had any spots open." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not the only hour. We're here twice a week. I mean, we're open, 55 hours or whatever that is." So, yeah, I think to your point, clients really don't know. And I think if you start asking, you'll be surprised at how many you're like, "Oh, yeah, sure. I just had no idea."
Right. Yeah. But you got to make that change in that mindset first. Culturally, you just can't like expect it people are going to do it on their own.
So that's kind of where you would start. It's like, first of all, let's all admit that it's a concerted effort. You need a system around it that's measurable, a goal, and then you're going to walk us through some tactics. But you got to start with the fact that you're going to have to work it. It's not just going to happen organically. So we start with that, and then we're going to talk about tactics then, right?
Yeah. So culturally, we're doing it. You hit on the next piece. It has to be something measurable, right? We run like the EOS level 10 structure. It should be a measurable goal each week. Like, how many referrals are we trying to drive this week? How many referrals are we trying to drive overall in this quarter? Because, as always, what gets measured gets managed, right?
Yes.
If you have no idea, you're just watching clients come in from randomly, have no clue where they're coming from. How are you going to try to get better? Or if you need to.
Yeah. Well, and we have all the back-end tech and software to track it. So it's like, and listen, we all know intuitively, and I think we know empirically, that referrals are really good clients. They typically, the close rate's high, the stickiness is better. Mm-hmm. They have friends there already. There's already social proof by the fact that someone's encouraging them to come in. All the things that are stacked in the favor of having a really good long-term client are in place from a referral. So you could argue that it is probably the best way to acquire a new customer for long-term, for a lifetime value.
100%. So the first thing, culturally, measure it. Everybody you got to practice on your team, go through how to ask, right?
Yep.
It's not natural for a lot of folks. And also, like, nobody's going to do it if you hold them accountable, right? So we know that. Now get into some low-hanging fruit for referrals, what you literally just talked about from a pre-sale perspective to really any point of sale, right? There's no reason that we shouldn't have an ask.
Do you think, and what I've heard, and have you seen this, Matt, that is the time when people are most excited, because you're investing in like a life change, and there's a significant investment from a monthly, amount, which is actually, if you know the psychology of buying like high-end products, like I'm a motorcycle guy, and there are certain brands of like motorcycle jackets and helmets that are really expensive. And I know that they're made in the same factory as a helmet that's half as much with a different badge on it. There might be a couple of trinkets different, but as far as like it's going to keep your head safe and the technology, it's the same, right? But the satisfaction rate of the customers that buy the more expensive items is through the roof compared to the mid-level items. It's the same helmet or the same jacket with a different label on it. But it shows the psychology of, if you buy something like at that time, you're leaving a positive review, because you're almost reaffirming to everyone else and yourself that this is worth it. I paid $1,000 for a jacket instead of $400. It's got to be better, and you want to believe that. And so a lot of that psychology goes into personal training. I've chosen this place. I'm going to spend $400 a month on my health. I want to really talk about how great that is because I'm also sort of justifying it to myself, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a great time when people first make a decision, which in our case, it's the same thing, it's a purpose, to really ask them for referrals. There's never a better time than right then.
Most excited they're going to be. This has to constantly be reminded and coached again. We have basic, easy ways to ask, right? We have the sense of humor side of the things that you have, right? Do you even care about me? Do you care about your spouse? But some basics just to work with your team on. One of the ways is literally asking, complete the sale. Everything's done. Rick, thank you for coming in. Do you mind doing me a favor?
I love it.
Right?
I love it. It's so powerful, right? We've talked about the studies of cutting in line, and they've studied people like, they're waiting in a line for a coffee and everyone's on the way to work. And if you ask somebody to do you a favor, they'll let you cut. Whereas if you just cut, obviously everyone's going to be upset. In some cases, probably really upset. So like just saying, hey, can you do me a favor? I'm late for work. Can I jump in here in front of you? Most people are going to be like, oh yeah, sure. But in their mind, they're probably like, you know what? Hold on. I'm late for work too. But just by asking them to do you a favor, they'll do it.
Right. Nobody says, no, I don't want to do you a favor. So it's easier way to ask, right? Because it could be, if you're never new to it, never done it, it might be uncomfortable, right? But you do me a favor, you shut your mouth, you let them answer, right?
Yep.
And great. You mind writing down a few names, think it'd benefit from our services. Trying to get 3 names, trying to get 5 names. But the point is we're asking every single time.
Right. And you're gonna throw a few air balls up there, and that's fine. Like it's just a numbers game, right?
Absolutely.
But if you say, and you can compliment them too, you can, to your point, like, hey, do me a favor. You're awesome. Like, I wish I had a whole gym of clients just like you. Do you have any friends that you like, that you hang out with, that you think would be a good fit here? And you're complimenting them, and you're also telling them, hey, why don't you bring people like you in here? And they're probably saying, oh yeah, that'd be cool. A bunch of my friends in here would be awesome, right? Yeah. Come with me, wingman style, So I like all aspects of that. And that's happening for us in what we call the starting point session, right? Because that's our sales opportunity.
Sales opportunity. And there's a lot of folks you got to watch out. There's a lot of head trash around things like this. They don't want to ask. They haven't done it yet. They don't know.
You're talking about, like in our case, the director, whoever's doing the selling.
In sales in general, right? That salesperson, they're just like, oh, they've never actually done the thing yet. They don't want to refer anybody, which is total bullshit, right? To what you're talking about. They've never actually wore the helmet yet. Maybe,
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you see these reviews, it's like, I haven't had a chance to wear it yet, but boy, the quality of this thing and the zippers work really well. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't even put it on and see if it's waterproof yet.
Right.
Doesn't matter because I paid a lot of money for it. I'm already in love with it, right? Same idea here. Yep. Good point.
So we have a constant ask, and then there's, this is not our culture, but there's, find businesses out there that literally they're so cutthroat. If you don't ask, you don't have a job. So but it's more about that accountability to do the thing.
Right.
There's no reason not to kind of thing. So obviously for us, low hanging fruit, point of sale, most excited, we're going to always ask.
Yep.
Okay.
Love it.
Along with that, some other smaller things that you can do is what's called like a pass along item. Right. This is something simple like a gift that you can give somebody. Right. So for example, we finished a sale. I could give you like, hey, here's a free 2-week free pass that you can give to anybody that you
like a gift for someone to come in.
Yep.
Love it.
So in an extension, you're giving them another way with your material to go talk to somebody else. Right.
So it's like a vehicle now.
There's a vehicle to do it. But again, we're like it's a numbers game. We ask every single time. If we give that somebody a piece that they can give to somebody else every single time, do you think you're eventually going to start getting some results from it?
Yeah, because just asking sets an expectation that like, hey, you're part of this family too. Like we're a tribe of 130 to 150 people. We're all trying to get to a healthier place. Do you have anybody you think would want to join us, right? So it's like they're in it with you in some ways. I know it sounds weird because when you're selling, sometimes you can just think of a transactional relationship, but think about the relational side of it, right? And stay in that headspace. And again, heaven forbid you ask them to refer people and you get them in and you change their lives for the better. And they'll think that terrible friend, I know, right? What's wrong with you, asshole? But they will think you and that friend. And we've had that happen on countless times. So, okay, so starting point session, learn how to ask, role play it is what I'm hearing. What else you got? What are other good times?
Well, there's lots more, but one thing to add on that, I mean, if, we've been doing this across the brand and have conversations with directors. I had one with, give shout out Jen Benson here recently, and she's really worked hard to make sure she asked, and she got like 4 people this past month just from asking, and 4 of them literally called their friend at the studio, which could be like a sales tactic in itself, like, hey, call them right now, but they like voluntarily did that. So it shows you again to their excitement. They're like going to pick up the phone in front of you and call somebody.
That's amazing. Yeah. Jen runs a great community, but to your point, Jen had self-admittedly in the past not been, air quoting, great at sales, when in fact everything is sales, and she is pretty good at it, right? But it's just getting that mind frame or that mindset, to your point, of just ask.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it. And if people don't want to, they're not going to be mad at you,
right?
It's like just chill, just ask. Yeah, and just make it part of your culture. Yeah, what's the worst case scenario?
Yeah, so there's that one. That's a big one, right? Every single time. Now, there's other times or moments, especially in our structure, that we should ask every single time. Next one being like just straight up accountability sessions, right?
Right. Can you describe what those are to people that aren't with Alloy or maybe looking into an Alloy? What is an accountability session?
Accountability session, exactly what it sounds like, right? It's a sit down with the client to expand and for further coaching them on their goals and what they need to do next steps, right?
Right.
Inside of those, you're going to have lots of opportunities to help them work around their travel, help them work with their nutrition, whatever it may be, work around an injury. Oftentimes you're redoing like what we do in bodies, right? So you're going to see body composition change. You're going to get some good things happening from those meetings, which is another high, right? We talk about stake in the ground or poles in the ground. Mm-hmm. It's another moment where somebody feels good. But again, it's another opportunity to ask. And there's no reason not to.
Right.
Because your members, I tell you, and you've done this forever, I've done it forever, they want to help you.
Yeah.
You just have to show them how.
Right.
kind of thing.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah. So every accountability session we're asking, same thing. We can also do a pass along items there. Inside of your space as well, we talk about whisper marketing. Mm-hmm. Right. So we are unique. We only have up to 6 individuals per session per hour. So there is scarcity not only to the model itself, but to the hours. Again, just on owners calls, just came up. Ken and his group, we look at actual hours where they may only have 5 people in them, and they make a focus effort to ask that group if there's any individuals that they could refer them to fill up that spot.
Yeah, and you can even create some scarcity there. Like to your point, if it was 5 people, you'd be like, hey, we have one more spot in this group. Do you guys know anybody you want to put in here before we turn on the marketing? And, oh, wait, I got a friend, really good point.
Yeah, but it's got to be like tactical and you got to look at it, right? It's not like just something like randomly you do one day. Nothing in business really is. Like you got to make a concerted effort. So those first 3 things happen. There's no excuse. They should happen every single time for sure. Next thing we're going to talk about is referrals from businesses.
Like
right?
B2B.
B2B kind of stuff. And we have a whole podcast literally on how to build cross promotions and stuff. This typically can be a little bit longer play, right? You have to get in, you have to create that relationship, and we have it set up where you can create opportunities for yourself from this. But like when you look at B2B, do you have a plan first of who you're actually going to go meet, go contact, right? And the next thing is you actually have to build a relationship. And something referrals that people don't think about, like they'll talk about B2B is they talk to a physical therapist one time, right? If that person does not know you, like you, and trust you, they're not sending anybody to you.
Right.
And I always tell people, like, do you randomly send people to random places that you've been one time?
Right. What's a good way to build trust with those businesses?
Well, good strategy, go in, always take a true interest in them, right? What do they do? Learn about them, take a part of their business. Like I've gone through literally say chiropractors, I've gone through their evaluation, right? To learn about them. Right. I always invite them into our space.
Do a starting point. Yeah.
Do a starting point session, potentially come do some sessions, right? To let them really feel it so they can actually explain it to other people, right? Because they don't really know what they do. And then from there, that's where all the good stuff comes. That's when we can now create opportunities within that business, not only for them and you, that's where we can start doing that cross-promotional side, right? We can leverage lists, all that stuff, and then climax it with an event. Right. Those workshops kind of thing. That is a great opportunity to drive referrals because not only you're leveraging your client base, but you're leveraging their client base.
Imagine we've done a whole podcast on cross promos, but like reaching out to their list on social media or banging their list with a newsletter saying, hey, we're going to be at Alloy Personal Training this weekend, swing by, we're giving out t-shirts or whatever that is, right? It's like you've got the power of 2 businesses promoting an event that benefits you and also benefits them as well because they're going to be putting in front of your clients. And I think when you were talking about identifying businesses, start with businesses that have a like clientele. That's what I see as a problem. Like we approached a blank and it's like, well, that's not a place where you're going to find a lot of your customers. Just if you don't know, I think for us, it's intuitive because we've been doing it for so long, but just ask your customers like, hey, where do you get your hair done? Or do you ever get massage? Or what other services? We've done really good cross promos with like tennis stores around here because it's a big deal. Golf stores, right? Because a lot of, we're around a lot of country clubs here in the burbs, and that's been really successful for us. So think about what else your clients do and go to those people. We've had some really good resources with like golf professionals, right? Because they might be coaching people on how to hit the ball, but if the people can't literally move in the way that they want them to, it's like they're telling them to do something that they can't do. So we come in and say, hey, the screen that we have is the same screen they use for the Titleist Performance Institute. And we've had golf pros like that would send us people just to get their clients moving better so they could do the thing they're trying to teach them. There's so many opportunities there, but you just got to be creative and think about where else are my customers? What are they participating in service and product wise when they're not here? And that's where you start.
Yeah. So not only that business owner may become a member, right? Potentially, right? That's
we've had that.
Many times that happens. But these workshops, these are what we'll describe as low barrier ways to get people in front of you, right? Exercise is not the first thing everybody's like, oh, I want to go to the gym and work out, right? It's not typically it. But it's a little bit different. Like, hey, you want to come to this workshop? It's about how to improve, your stretching, mobility, back pain, knee pain. It could be a, thing for
I see a lot of franchisees
nutrition.
Doing those, right? Hormones or menopause or, pelvic floor or back or shoulder. Or it's just a really good idea because, again, our population is concerned with those things.
Yep. So it gives you another chance. You could look at doing something like that. If you're really on top of it with your relationships, could have one of those going on a month. Right?
Yep.
Which you're creating essentially your own event every single month, right? Be optimal. If you can do it every other month, great.
Well, what I like about it too, and this is what we describe is if you I think one of our franchisees said during pre-sale, don't get drunk on digital. And I would agree with that. Even if you get a large percentage of your leads digitally, if you don't do the grassroots marketing, you waste an opportunity to have this sort of top of funnel, top of mind awareness in your community for what you do. So if somebody wants to get in shape or lose weight, if you go and do those community outreach, so you said it earlier, sometimes it's a longer play. I think in the playbooks that we have, we do have some that are a finite, like 30 days, and there's something good about that. But let's say you're doing a different one every month, right? Then all of these businesses, it's not like it's not their month to be doing a deliberate cross promo with you that you're still not top of mind with them because you're maintaining that relationship, right? Maybe you grab lunch with the owner of the business or the manager every now and then. There's ways to do that. And that really feeds your business long-term more than that immediate, like, bam, I got to go now, right? Because again, those conversations will come up randomly. You're who they'll think of, top of mind. And I think those kind of things with strategic partnerships can keep feeding your business long-term at a no cost. I mean, you put the sweat equity in at the start, but like now you're cashing in on that relationship equity for a long time. So I think you should do it, even if you don't get immediate ROI, because I think long-term what we've seen is those strategic relationships really do pay off.
100%. I mean, I think you hit it right there. If you're fortunate where paid social just like it crushes for you, you still need to do it so that, if there was a day it doesn't, you have something.
Well, and I think to your point, like you started with like, hey, at least ask at the starting point session.
Right.
If you can build that skill and that muscle of asking and kill all the head trash around why that's a good or bad thing, right? It will make all the other things easier. So you can practice this almost, and I'm air quoting, during your pre-sale, even with digital leads. It's like, just ask, right? And by the way, once you get used to that and you find out that people really like what you do and they're happy to help you, it makes it much easier to go out and do B2B relationship stuff. And, go back and listen to Mike Jewett's podcast on how he did it. And he laughed. He's like, kind of like you, Matt. He's like, when I first started talking to these other businesses, I felt like I had to purchase what they were doing because I felt guilty. And he's like, and then it turns out like everybody's really cool and I didn't have to buy anything. They were happy to participate, and so, but that was his head trash, right? And then you got to get out there and then you find out, oh no, people are happy to help. Like, we're all in this entrepreneurial small business, game together. Why don't we go out there and just help people? You make them look good, you do their hair, or you get their body back in shape with massage. We'll get them in shape over here. We'll work together, and that's what it's all about.
Oh, that's good. We're going through all these. The whole goal here is just for everybody to see always that there's not just one thing, right? Not one thing for marketing. None of these things are really telling you like you do this and it's going to blow your big. You're going to get 50 new members.
Right. It's just I look at this honestly, Matt. When you're talking about it, I'm thinking as you're talking, it's like this is just a lens that you put on. where if you really have a desire to help people, which is why you get into this business and create a better life for people, it shouldn't be a problem asking the people that are already benefiting from your service if they have anybody they want to bring in. I mean, why would you not? If you're a crusader and you're out there to change lives, and you got a great vehicle to do that, why would you not?
No, it's a great question. It's got to be top of mind. So to go along with workshops, a lot of our clubs do that. Another tool that you should use that will not only help your retention in the community is doing those socials. We often talk about doing like a member social monthly. Now, you're not say that's necessarily like, oh, it's going to drive you a lot of traffic to your business. But again, what it is a low barrier way for you to get in front of other people. We always tell people it's like, you shouldn't do these monthly. They should be on a reoccurring schedules. For example, we always had a, ladies night every Thursday. First Thursday every month was ladies night, right? So it's on the client's calendar.
And they would bring friends.
And they would bring friends.
Right. Yeah.
And it's much easier sometimes to go have drinks than it is come get hot and sweaty for a workout.
Good point. But you're building relationships nonetheless.
Building relationships. Give you opportunity to see somebody you may have never met, right? I see, your wife, your husband, your neighbor, your work associate. They meet you. They see you're actually normal. It's not whatever expectations they have of the gym. Right. A bunch of freaks in there,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're like me.
Yeah.
I could do this.
I mean,
think about like you used to tease me during COVID because we had more downtime, and I would just walk around my neighborhood and send people in here, and it was just because it was like you were having conversations and they were like, oh, I've got neck problems. That's why I don't work out. I'm like, well, you can still work out around your neck problems. I mean, I was literally just talking to them as if I was a friend. I wasn't trying to sell them anything. And then they were like, I'm going to go up there. I'm calling you guys. I'm like, I'll hold you to it. You're not. Me again. It's always humor, right? But that drove a decent amount of my neighbors into the facility, which is cool.
Yeah, I had many starting points from Rick rocking around his neighborhood. It was great.
Right. I didn't even have my shirt off.
Thank God.
Yeah, that would have killed it.
But like workshops, socials, again, anything, you got to plan it. It's got to be on the calendar. If you don't plan it, it won't happen.
Yep.
Low barrier. Now, something that you could also do quarterly, some clubs have had success with this, there's a couple ways you can do this, is make basically a promotion to bring somebody into the studio workout with you. Right, if you want to call it like a buddy
man
week
or a buddy week or something,
sweetie week around Valentine's, right? Like you can do this, and this is something like quarterly that you could do. That is a little bit low barrier. You get to go with your friend to the gym. It's not as intimidating, and we have a playbook around how to handle those folks. Right. But if you did this quarterly, you're typically good after socials. Something good I'll have on the calendar. Right. Bring them in, introduce them, get them signed up.
Yep.
Kind of thing. Other things we've done in the past from this side of thing is we've had like, charity kind of events around workouts, right? Saturday we come in.
Turkey Day, whatever it is.
Turkey Day. Could be this workout. Every rep done goes to X charity, right?
I love it.
You can have some fun around this. But again, another opportunity for you to get somebody in front of you. Right. The next thing is just overall like opening. Everybody should have obviously a grand opening party. You can have open houses even after you're open, right? Things, creating your own events and excitement. Utilize all the vendors that you've had already, that you've talked to. Create raffles around this, excitement, drawings, those kind of things.
Yeah, if you have those relationships, to your point, in your community with those 10, 12 businesses that you do cross promos, they also become your strategic partners for these open houses, right? Where they all come and peddle their wares, so to speak, but they're also, you ask them to advertise it to their list that they're going to be there. So their customers are swinging by to see them to pick up a free voucher for maybe win a pair of shoes or something, but they're also in your facility, right? And you get to meet them as individuals. So there's all this like win-win scenario around that, which I love. And, look, man, keep going. This is good.
Well, I mean, it's another thing too. I think like sometimes people forget this side is like, you're in your community, you're trying to take part of these businesses. Like you should also take part of theirs, right? There's other businesses opening up. There's other businesses having open houses. They're at your place with a booth. You should be at their place with a booth.
Yep.
Right. Any opportunity that you can get in front. Other cool things from creating events or celebrations, you could look at doing like quarterly client appreciation things. Right. Like you could literally have a whole seminar on like most successful client or client of the quarter. You could have like a little carpet walk. You could have most weight loss. I mean, there's a lot of fun things that you can do.
And we have quarterly challenges that we provide to our franchisees throughout the year. They build that like it's like a, it's a retention play, but you'll have people that want to participate in, Fall Back to Fitness, Project Zero. It's just fun, right? But all those things, you can always include an element of a wingman or a guest or something, right?
Yep. And that goes in the next one, just overall, like you can also incentivize referrals in different ways from like a challenge standpoint, right? You can gamify it, right? You can have, and we have challenges set up on our platform you can use outside of our normal internal challenges, but like a referral challenge where you're incentivized to do a task that gives you say, points, or enters you into a raffle.
Yeah, the raffles, like I think the psychology on that, I'm glad you said that, the chance to win is more compelling than a definite win. Because we've done both. Like we've done referral drives in the past, and like the more you got, you were a leader, but sometimes people would run away with it and everybody else would power down.
Right.
But if it was just another name in the hat, you might have the larger percentage chances of winning. But if you only have one or two in there, you could still win, right? So put names in the hat, drawing at the end of the month is really compelling.
Yeah, but imagine like, a couple times a year, you run like a big referral challenge where you put, do X, get your name in the bowl. It's an easier way for somebody that maybe not as skilled like a coach to be able to ask for this because it's not straight up asking you for a referral. I'm asking you to do the thing that's just going to give you a chance to win
like, I want you to win this blank, whatever it is, massage gun or whatever. Yeah.
So you can gamify it on that side. Other ways we've done this is you can gamify it with your team. Right. I mean, we've done all kinds of things, get the most referrals over X amount of time, or really anything that we wanted to do, get a pair of shoes to Fleet Feet. Right. We have a couple clubs in pre-sale right now. They're doing, whoever gets like the most signups during the week in referrals, they literally have 7 envelopes out, and every time whoever gets the most gets to grab an envelope, and there's like something in each of those.
Oh, that's awesome.
I love it. Create more excitement into what you said at the beginning, that Slack channel, we're celebrating it, we're taking notice, right?
Yep.
Something I should have touched on already is like, in referrals in general, like if you refer somebody, everybody wants to be acknowledged, right, for those referrals. And I'll tell you, the best ones that do referrals in our network, they go above and beyond to take care of those people. So like common practice, write a handwritten note from the team, every referral, or from the owner to that individual client, thanking them. Okay. Maybe giving them, if you have somebody I'll describe as the mayor of your place, mayor of your studio, they know everybody, take care of them, buy them dinner tickets, buy them, something to make them feel appreciated. Because just like anything, the person that does it, they're more likely to do it. So you want to encourage that.
Yeah, you just reward the behavior just like a kid or anything else, right? Yeah, you reward the behavior you want them to repeat. Yeah. Love it.
It's just always doing that.
And even in the, we've got mechanisms in the, during the dynamic warm up, it could be like, hey, first of all, I just want to give a shout out to Matt. He referred like 5 people last month. So, man, think about how many lives you changed. Because, those people, like it's kind of our math at conference. Those people are going to touch 10 people and 10 more people. So just by saying, hey, man, I care about you. I'd love to see you get in better shape is what you're saying, even if you didn't say it in that manner. Those people coming in, I mean, again, ChatGPT will say you affect the lives of 100 people at least, maybe more. But even if you pared it down to 10, and then those 10 people help 10 more people, like how many people did you help by referring 5 people that month? But you could almost explain that in a fun way. It's like, hey, shout out to Matt. Like, you don't know what you're doing. I mean, how many lives do you think you changed if those people go home and are better dads, brothers, bosses, employees, whatever those things are, right? Team members. And it just gives you the opportunity to speak to it in a relevant way in front of 5 other people potentially that are like, I got some people I could bring in here. You're right. I mean, we're changing lives in here. They become part of the process with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, there's many other ways probably to drive referrals, but I think we hit it, like, for the most part, like, culturally, it has to be there. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to measure it. If it's not happening, go in and fix it, right? Don't do seagull managing where you fly in every couple months, shittle everybody and leave.
Right.
That doesn't drive good behaviors.
Correct.
Celebrate it, incentivize it with your members, make them feel good about it, make sure your team feels good at it, and then make sure you're doing all of these things, all of them, right? There's no reason not to, especially the first several we did. Like, there's no reason not to ask. And if you do that, numbers-wise, your chances, you're going to have more wins than if you did not.
Yeah, I mean, if again, we need such a small number of clients, members to make a healthy facility financially. If it was a 20% of your new memberships, right, it would be significant in this model with such a low number. that you need. So it's like there's not really any reason not to do it other than you're just not doing it. You're not measuring it if you're the owner, and so it's not happening. And then if you are measuring it, it's not going well, there's just a lack of conviction from your team. So role play it a little bit. Do you want to go back through like just a quick recap? Because you came up with, I think, like 10 things, right? Opportunities. Do you want to walk back through those? Just bullet them out quickly.
Yeah, so just kind of running back through, obviously point of sale, we talked about a lot at the beginning. We call that the starting point session in our model, but every point of sale we should ask. Every point of sale, we should also have some sort of pass along item, which is a gift that somebody could give to somebody else. The next one is like what we call accountability sessions or check-ins, intimate, more sit down one-on-one. No reason we can't ask there. The next one was actually looking at your sessions you have now and looking for those opportunities to use the group, right? We talk about that 5 out of 6. Let them know, like, hey, can you know anybody? If not, I'm going to go find a weirdo off the street. That usually scares them into it, right?
Right.
Got that going. The next one was the utilizing the businesses and the vendors you make relationships with, right? From a cross-promotional standpoint, you're going to be able to do things. That will parlay into workshops, right? Which is another opportunity to get in front of people you may not have the chance to. To go with that, we combine, say, socials. It's another thing. Doing it consistently puts you in chances to meet other people outside of working out. Then we went into just having a dedicated, like, bring a friend week. Okay. Quarterly is probably the most I would do those. Again, great after socials. And then having open houses, grand opening parties, going to other people's grand opening parties, those kind of things. And then actual making challenges out of it with your teams. And,
like an internal challenge.
Internal challenges.
Yeah, I love the envelope idea, like the chance to win, as opposed to like a guaranteed win because you're running away with it. Dude, solid gold. And I'm telling you, it's like, it sounds so simple, but it's just, we talk about it a lot. It's like fat loss is simple. It's not easy, but if you need to make it, you have to make this part of your culture. Has to be a set of lenses that you put on, and there's a million opportunities that you just gave us. If you just ask for referrals in the manner that you mentioned with these opportunities, there's zero chance it's not going to help you grow your business. And I will tell you, referred clients are really good lifetime value clients.
Yep, for sure.
Anything else?
Well, that's it, man.
Dude, that's pure gold. I'm gonna have to get you out of your office every now and then for more.
I don't have any time.
You have no time. Look, I can only help you every now and then, but if you listen to Matt, if anything, take this one to heart because it's pure gold. And great job, man. I appreciate the insight, and let's go change some more lives.
Let's do it.
Peace.